I'm here in Winterset, Iowa. Just made the 2-hour drive from Omaha, Nebraska to get here. This is the birthplace of John Wayne. They actually have a birthplace museum here. I am gonna go check that out, and then I'm gonna make my way down I-80, down the Iowa Wine Trail to find me some wine, and then I'm gonna have to pair one of those wines with a Steak de Burgo. So come with me, let's find out what a Steak de Burgo is and see what Iowa is pouring for us today. They say legends aren't born, they're made. But here in the quiet heart of the American Midwest, you can actually stand on the front porch where one began. I've just arrived in Winterset, Iowa. To the casual observer, it's a charming, quintessential small town. But if you look closer, past the town square and down South John Wayne Drive, you find the humble soil that grew a giant. This is the birth home of John Wayne, but back in 1907, he wasn't the Duke yet. He was just Marion Robert Morrison, a baby born in a modest 4-room house. Walking through the rooms of his birth home, restored exactly as they were a century ago, it's almost impossible to reconcile this intimate, simple place with the larger-than-life icon who would eventually dominate the silver screen. Just next door, the story expands from a small-town childhood to Hollywood royalty at the John Wayne Birthplace Museum. It is the largest diversified collection of Wayne artifacts in existence. The memorabilia here is overwhelming. You see the scripts, the costumes, the letters, even one of his custom-built cars. But the real showstopper here for cinema history buffs is a recent acquisition, a rare 70mm Mitchell camera. This is the actual lens that captured a 23-year-old John Wayne in his first leading role in The Big Trail. Before I leave, I'm taking a seat in the museum's theater. These came from Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. It's a poetic full circle, sitting in Hollywood history right here in the middle of Iowa, watching the journey of the man who defined the American West. I'm at Madison County Winery here in St. Charles, Iowa, and working my way through a tasting here. I gotta tell you before I kind of go into this, sometimes on these trips, you know, if you watch some of our episodes, you gotta kind of punt. So we had planned to go somewhere else actually today, but luckily Mrs. K made a phone call and they said they didn't think anybody was gonna show up today because it's the 4th of July, so they just closed the winery. So we punted and end up right here in Madison County at Madison County Vineyard. Now I have to say this is the Madison County from the Madison County bridges. So there are covered bridges all over here. I just saw a bunch of tourists visiting a couple of those covered bridges. But here I'm working my way through a flight. Here they charge $8 for a flight of wine. And you get 5 different tastings you get to pick. Give you a little slip. You fill it out 1 through 5 on the card. And they actually number right here on this little circle here, 1 through 5, so you can work your way through the wines and see which one you like. I'm trying to figure out which one of these is gonna go well with my Steak de Burgo tonight. So let me work my way through this and then I'll let you know which wine will pair perfectly with that Steak de Burgo. Having a hard time saying that. There is a specific kind of romance to these roads. Leaving Winterset, as you drive through Madison County, you drive through the pages of a novel. We are passing the legendary covered bridges. These weathered wooden structures became global icons thanks to Robert James Waller's book and the film, The Bridges of Madison County. They stand as silent sentinels over the streams, reminders of a slower time and perhaps a reminder to slow down ourselves. And just a few miles down the road, nestled between St. Charles and Winterset, I found the perfect place to do exactly that. This is Madison County Winery. It's a native Iowa winery rooted deep in these rolling hills. It's a labor of love started by Doug and Cheryl Backer. Back in 2001, they planted these vines by hand with family and friends, waiting 4 long years for the vineyard to mature enough for a commercial harvest. That is the kind of patience you can taste in the glass. And the variety here is incredible. If you have a sweet tooth, they have a trio they call the Lovely Ladies. Wines like Lollipop and Strawberry Blonde. But if you're like me and prefer something drier or bolder, you have to try the Midnight Rain or the Barrel Aged Red. They even have a Fat Man Port for something truly robust. The atmosphere here is what really sells it. It's unpretentious and genuinely welcoming. You can grab a craft beer from Big Rack Brew House or just sit out here on the terrace. On summer Fridays, they fire up the wood oven for pizza, and my favorite part, it's dog-friendly. Seeing a pup romp through the vineyard just adds to the charm. It's the perfect pause button, but the sun is starting to dip, and I've got a dinner reservation in the city that I cannot miss. Des Moines is calling. I have here the Vignoles, which is a grape here at this winery. It's a locally grown grape. I have no idea what Vignoles is, so I'll have to Google it and I'll post something up on the video clip for you to figure out what exactly this is, but obviously it's a white wine and a white grape. Let's give this a go on the nose. Oh, and that's got a little bit of a, almost kind of like a burnt caramel, almost a little hint with lemon, and it's definitely got some white flower there. Let's give it a go on the palate. That is a unique wine. If I had to go with something that most people know for as regards to flavor, I would go with a Sauvignon Blanc, but not as strong or powerful. This is more light and subtle, and you definitely get more of a yellow flower on the palate. It's more of like almost like a dandelion or a sunflower on that, and then you get lemon, lime all day long. It's a beautiful, crisp wine. It's probably perfect for this hot July day. Sit out on the patio and just enjoy a nice, cool glass of white wine. Vignoles from Iowa. Just finished up my wine tasting here at Madison County Winery. Really a pretty amazing day, really enjoyed it. Amy and Anthony just started running this operation. It's under new management, and they're doing a great job. And they're gonna host some food trucks here today, and they're actually doing fireworks on the mountain behind me because it's the 4th of July, so pretty cool. Just wrapping up my charcuterie, and here I have the Petite Syrah. They get their grape juice from Lodi, which if you haven't seen my Lodi episode, make sure you check that one out. It's a great episode. Anyway, this Petite Syrah, I'm told, is one of their most popular wines here. Let's give it a go on the nose. Interesting. I'm getting some blue fruit there, like blueberries, like a little bit of blackberry, and just a smidge of like pepper there. Let's give it a go on the palate. Oh, and that pepper hangs on with a nice smooth tannin. It's got a nice like round mouthfeel on this. This is a pretty good Petite Syrah. The juice from Lodi. They do have some estate wines here. I tried earlier. I think this one might have a chance of making it as the perfect pairing for the Steak de Burgo. I can't wait to figure out what the heck that is. So let's head on into Des Moines and get ourselves a Steak de Burgo. The sun has set on the vineyards, and the quiet country roads have given way to the city lights of Des Moines. I've arrived at the historic Hotel Fort Des Moines for my final stop. I'm having dinner at Proudfoot Bird. Named after the original architects of the hotel, this place screams Gilded Age glamour. From the marble staircases to the stunning circular bar, it feels like stepping onto a movie set from the 1920s. It's the kind of place where you don't just eat, you dine. The menu here is a masterclass in upscale American cuisine, wood-fired oysters with bacon butter, handmade pastas, and creative cocktails. But I didn't come here for the atmosphere, I came here for a Des Moines legend. And that legend is rich, savory, and undeniably iconic. Eating Steak de Burgo in a setting like this is the perfect end to the trip. From the humble birth home of John Wayne past the romantic bridges of Madison County to this final bite of culinary history, Iowa is full of surprises. Just one question left to answer. What pairs best with Steak de Burgo? I'm here in downtown Des Moines, Iowa, wrapping up this trip for Iowa with a Steak de Burgo at Proudfoot Bird. Pretty happy Proudfoot Bird is actually open today because it's 4th of July and it was really hard to find a restaurant that was open today. But the good news is most restaurants in town have the Steak de Burgo on the menu. It's that popular in Des Moines. It's really amazing. You drive 50 miles in any direction, nobody's gonna know what you're talking about, but right here in Des Moines, you can find a Steak de Burgo almost anywhere. It was made famous by Johnny Campiani, and he came from New Orleans and the Coast Guard and brought up filet steak and put herb butter on it. And that's what a Steak de Burgo is. So pretty simple, pretty nice. And this is a great example of that. His first restaurant here was called Johnny and Kay's. So, you know, Mrs. K was pretty happy to hear that story. Anyway, if I was pairing this with wine from Madison County Winery, I would pair it with the Petite Syrah. The Petite Syrah was big, bold. It would go with all these flavors, the herbs, the butter. I would actually even put a lot more of this pavois sauce on it because that would add a little more blend, a little more spiciness that would pair greatly with that Petite Syrah. Truffle fries, also another great pairing. Anyway, I'm gonna say so long for now from downtown Des Moines and my trip in Iowa. And I hope I get to see you somewhere on the wine trail.